and welcome to Makeup. Hello beautiful, and welcome to Makeup, and welcome back to another watercolor convo makeup session. Yes, I'm sticking with that name apparently because I've had a lot of comments being like, hey, I love the title already, but here's some other ideas, or hey, I just really enjoy watercolor convo makeup. So I guess the name is probably staying. For all of you who don't know what watercolor convo makeup is, it is essentially where I sit down, I do my makeup, we have a cheeky little chat about things that either you want me to talk about, or I want me to talk about, or sometimes we want me to talk about, if that makes sense. So recently, Jamescharles has been in the news for all of the wrong reasons, and I thought, no one's requested it, but I have a sneaking suspicion that y'all may want me to talk about it. So let's just sit down, let's get my makeup started. We got Margie here. It's literally $2 from a $2 shop, and then I printed off a piece of paper with the Marge thing on it, and then I just got like a lot of tape, so from the side she looks chunky. She looks all kinds of disgusting. So I think I'm gonna fix her up and just paint her on and then just put a really cute little varnish over the top so that she looks less disgusting. Either way, Jamescharles. Woofed! I don't even know where to start with this train wreck. Disclaimer and trigger warning, in this video I will be discussing Jamescharles' recent scandals, if you can even call it that anymore, as well as his holding himself accountable video. So I will be touching on topics of sexual misconduct and assault of minors, grooming and pedophilia. If you find any of those topics triggering in any kind of way, please proceed with caution with this video. At the end of the day, I just don't want any of my content to jeopardize any of your well-being. Yeah, it's just, this video is going to be a weird one, to say the least. Before we do get into my analysis, I do want to give a cheeky bit of context to the people who may not know what's going on in the world of Jamescharles and in the world of the beauty community and the internet right now. So just to kind of summarize everything as briefly as possible. The allegations themselves, recently-ish, and I say ish because it's been going on for a bit, but it just started getting hype now. Recently, Jamescharles has been accused of grooming minors. At least 2 people have come forward at the moment that I am filming this, saying that Jamescharles is engaged in flirty messages, sexting, and sending and soliciting nude photos to minors. They also specify that Jamescharles knew their age whilst he was talking to them. And this is also not the first time that James has been accused of using the power in his platform to pursue inappropriate romance and relationships. Then about 4 days ago, James posted a 14-minute video called Holding Myself Accountable, where he discusses his perspective on the scandals and everything that's going on the internet, and also trying to hold himself accountable. Oofed is all I can really say. Just oofed. Just O-O-O-O-O-O-F-T. This is all the context laid out as simply as possible. There's definitely a few things that I have missed, but this is just so that everyone kind of has context for the analysis that I'm gonna give. But to be put simply, this situation is a big chunk of fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. And unfortunately for James, his accountability video was essentially a confession. The first time that Jamescharles had been called out for predatory behavior was by Tati in her Bye Sisters video. In this video, she stated that Jamescharles was using the power in his platform and also his fame to manipulate straight men into engaging in sexual and romantic relationships with him. James then came out with his No More Lies video and essentially did the Uno reverse cards of videos, and the internet believed him and forgave him for everything that was going on. But also we forgave him, for lack of a better phrasing, for the situation more when Tati backtracked on her original statement, as well as with Shane Dawson's humble pie post that he made at one point, and then even furthermore with what happened with Carmageddon, which was just a whole other kind of kettle of fish. That was also a lot. But for James's audience and the internet at this point, that previous situation feels way too close for comfort with this situation happening at the moment, and James even makes a comparison to it in his Holding Himself Accountable video. So now it gives us this weird change of perspective and now questioning the truth of the previous situation. In one of my recent videos, Manipulating Your Audience, How to End Your Career in 1 Easy Step, I discussed that once you lose, mistreat and disrespect and abuse the trust of your audience and the internet, it's really hard to gain it back. But not only that, it also puts all of your previous actions, videos, words into a different kind of perspective. And we can't help but question our new perspective, our new bias, and try and find the truth in all of the situations and find the truth in a character, in a reality that has been shattered for us. With this situation specifically, our reality was that James was not capable of any kind of predatory behavior, and it was even proven previously that he wasn't capable. Ooh. What just went ding? My phone. Hello. Apparently, that's the sound of my phone when someone likes a message. Excuse me, sir. I am filming. Previous reality we were in, either as his audience or as the internet in general, was that James Charles was not capable of predatory behavior, because in previous allegations they were disproven and he was seen as innocent after the situation wrapped up. But now with this new set of allegations, and also his holding himself accountable video essentially being a confession of guilt, which I'll get to a little bit later in a lot more depth. I just want to make sure that I have all of the context necessary. But because he's essentially confessed his guilt in this situation, we now have a completely different perspective, because James himself has admitted to the fact that he is capable of predatory actions. And as an audience, we can't help but sit there and wonder, should James have been cleared? Should James have been forgiven? Were we all duped? In James's holding himself accountable video, he discusses the self-reflection he did into trying to figure out why he had a complete disregard for people's well-being when it came to him pursuing romantic and sexual relationships. And he summed it up simply as he was desperate. He specified that so many aspects of his life just came easy to him, and so many aspects of his life were just working out so well. Business-wise, career-wise, house-wise, financially, but for some reason, he just couldn't have the same when it came to romance, boyfriends, and relationships. And because all that was going so well, but that wasn't, he was desperate for that to catch up and for there to be some sort of a balance in his life. Sorry, but desperation for a relationship is just kind of nothing to me. Right? And in all honesty, hearing this result of self-reflection and hearing the rest and watching the rest of the holding himself accountable video, I genuinely don't think James realizes the severity of what's going on and what his video has just done. I genuinely don't think he understands. For one reason or another, I don't think it's clicked yet. And I say that I don't think he understands for a few reasons. The first reason literally being in the first few minutes of the video, when he does his trigger warning. That wasn't a trigger warning. I'm sorry, fam, but it wasn't a trigger warning. In his video, he says, "Hi, this is a trigger warning. There are going to be things that I discuss that are going to be triggering, so please be careful." Okay, I'm paraphrasing, but at the same time, when you give a trigger warning, you need to specify what the triggers are. Otherwise, it's not a trigger warning. You can't just sit there and be like, "Hi, this is a trigger warning," but not say what the triggers are. There are so many different triggers in the world. There's so many things that people could be offended or have their well-being jeopardized by. You need to specify what one it is. If I'm doing a video and I'm discussing, like this for instance, if I'm doing a video and I'm discussing sexual misconduct and assault, pedophilia and grooming, I say in the beginning of the video that I will be discussing sexual misconduct and assault, pedophilia and grooming. I lay it out for you. It shouldn't be an Easter egg hunt to figure out what the triggers are, because at the end of the day, that jeopardizes you. That jeopardizes the viewer. That jeopardizes your well-being. And that's not okay. That's not cool. It's your channel. It's your content. It's your responsibility to give the correct information and enough of the information so that the audience member can make an informed decision as to whether or not to proceed with watching the video. If you're not going to do the trigger warning correct, don't post the video. But the issue that I find with James is yes, he knows that he should be making a trigger warning. Great, that's awesome. But if he can't say what the triggers are, then either he's not 100% invested in taking accountability, or he just doesn't understand what's going on. I don't know what other option there is. If you can't set out the appropriate triggers or specify what the appropriate triggers are, it's either because you don't know what they are, or you don't want to say them because you're not 100% invested in taking accountability. I've said it in other videos. If you're saying that you're taking accountability or you're doing an apology video, the apology video should not be a manhunt. We should not be having to figure out what it is that you were apologizing for. If we are having to try and figure out what it is, you didn't do it right. And if in your apology video you have to put a trigger warning, you need to put the correct one. Otherwise, it either gives us this message that you don't care, or it gives us this message that you don't understand. Another thing that just kind of made me uncomfortable more than anything is just how angry that James got in the video. It's okay to get emotional, don't get me wrong. I'm a very emotional person at the end of the day. I try and give this facade that I'm like, oh yeah, emotions, what are they? But like, I can literally cry at the drop of a hat. Cried over toast being too cooked before, which that was a wild day for me. Either way, I digress. This whole situation to me is, in all honesty, a bit surreal. Yeah, surreal is definitely the right word. At the end of the day, emotion is fine to have in your apology videos. Whatever, do whatever you need to do, be whoever you need to be as genuine and as authentic as you can in all of these kinds of videos. If that is to be emotional, that's fine. The issue that I find with it is that James's emotion that he showed in it was anger. Anger is a choice when it comes to an apology video, because in the video he doesn't specify that he's angry, but you can see his voice is raised a bit, he's getting quite firm with how he's speaking, he has this demeanor of just getting quite aggressive with what's going on. But the issue is he doesn't specify himself that he's getting angry, but we can see it as an audience. And because he doesn't specify that he's angry, he doesn't specify who he's angry about. We have no evidence to prove who he's angry at, who he isn't angry at, but at the end of the day, we're left to kind of question who he is angry at. Is he angry at himself for letting it go this far? Is he angry at his alleged victims for their accusations? Is he angry at the internet? Is he angry at the people reporting on it? Who is he angry at? At the end of the day, we're not going to know unless it's specified. And even then, he's kind of lost the trust of the internet at this point, so I'm not even sure if anyone will believe him if he does specify that it's himself. But if you don't specify who you're angry at in a holding yourself accountable video or an apology video, it feels like you're angry at the victims, which isn't good. Because if you're trying to hold yourself accountable, the last person that you should be getting angry at is the victims. Because you're the one that caused them pain. You're the one that jeopardized their well-being. You're the one that put them in an awful situation. But it also comes across as disingenuous, and it comes across that you aren't 100% invested in the accountability that you are saying that you are taking. But another reason which makes me think either James wasn't 100% invested in doing the video in the first place, or he just doesn't understand the severity of the situation that he is in, is he tiptoed a lot in that video. He was somehow saying a lot of things but also nothing at the same time. But if you're making an accountability video, don't tiptoe. If you're holding yourself accountable, hold yourself accountable. Do not tiptoe around the information. Set the information out, because otherwise you aren't giving us the whole story. You aren't telling us exactly what you're sorry for. You're holding yourself accountable at 50%. That's not enough, especially with allegations as serious as this. Do not be tiptoeing around it, because in the video, James said that he was having flirty conversations. He was engaging in flirty conversations with minors. To me, a flirty conversation is just saying, I have vague romantic interest in you. That's flirty to me. James is being accused of sexting, soliciting nudes, and sending nudes to minors. I'm sorry, but that, to me, and I'm pretty sure the masses, goes beyond flirty. So once again, either James just genuinely doesn't understand how far the situation went and just doesn't really understand what he's done or what he's in the middle of, or he really isn't that invested in taking the 100% accountability that he specified that he was going to do in this video. And the most crucial point and important point, in the video, he literally confesses. He literally states his guilt. He may not say, I'm guilty or I confess, but the information that he gave from his perspective was an admission of guilt. In the video, James's perspective is that when he initially started talking to the minors, they said that they were 18, when in fact they were underage and they were 16. And James said that he took their word as truth and did no further research. But he also specified that he had in his ability and capability to do further research, and with very minimal further research, he would have been able to find out that that was a lie. He said that he could have gone to their other social medias to find their age. He said that he could have scrolled down their profiles a little bit more to find their actual age. So James admitted that he was able to seek out more concrete information to confirm their age, but chose not to out of desperation. Desperation for romance and a boyfriend is why James decided to not do further research, even though it was very easily in his capabilities. He also specified in the video one of the things that has been said quite a lot recently when it comes to social media, and that is that he forgot the power in his fame, the power in his platform, the power in his numbers. Creators, no matter how big or small, have a power that's pretty unattainable for some or most of the world. I may still be seen as a small creator to some, but I'm very aware of the power that I have in my online presence and what I say and what I do and in what I post. And the bigger numbers you have, whether that's followers, whether that's views, the bigger the numbers you have, the more possible volatile imbalance that you can have that can be taken advantage of. Because if I want to make or post a video and I want other people involved in it, I make 100% sure that the people that I am working with in those videos feel 100% comfortable with me enough that if they are uncomfortable with anything that I want to do, film, post, they can turn around and say, Janet, no. Whatever the situation is, whatever the content is, whatever the idea is, they are comfortable enough with me that they can turn around and be like, I'm not okay with this. Because there's always the chance, always the possibility that someone wants to be a part of my video or videos just because of my numbers, just because of my online presence. And there's always a chance during the filming or the production of the video that the person could be sitting there feeling uncomfortable, feeling not 100% invested, but they want to keep going through it just because of the numbers that I have. And then the video gets made, the video gets posted with them not being 100% invested, with them being made uncomfortable by it. And I don't like that. I want people to want to come back to my channel. I want to have people want to collab with me. I want people to feel welcomed around me. I want people to feel safe around me and feel as though they can tell me, I don't feel okay with this, because at the end of the day, if they don't feel comfortable, that jeopardizes a part of their well-being, and that's not cool. And that's for me to respect, and that's for me to have in consideration 24/7 when it does come to collabs, when it does come to all of that. That's why, like, for my brother, for example, my brother has been on a few of my videos. We've done I do his makeup, we've done I put him in drag, we've done he does my makeup, I put him in like big ass nails at one point. But every single time I sat with him and I was like, hey, this is the video I want to make, do you want to be a part of it? And he was like, heck yeah, let's go for it. I'm like, okay, here are some ground rules, this is what I'm comfortable with, what are you comfortable with? And we make sure that both of us understand where the other one stands, what is off limits for each other, and all of that kind of stuff. And then when it comes to the editing, because I do all of my own editing, when it comes to the editing, I always make sure with him before I post the video, like, hey, are you 100% okay with me posting this? Is there anything that you want me to take out of it before I post it? And he'll sit there, and sometimes he'll say to me, yeah, I don't really feel okay with that. And no harm, no foul, because at the end of the day, I want him to come back to the channel because he wants to come back to the channel. And I never want a video collaboration of mine to be something where someone could turn around and be like, wow, that was a huge mistake. That's one of the worst things I've ever done in my life. I wish that I wasn't a part of it, because like, I take a lot of pride in my channel, and I take a lot of pride in my friendships and my familialships and my relationships. Like, granted, there's been a few cheeky moments on my videos with him. There's been a few cute little roasts, but at the end of the day, everything has been okayed by Monkey. Everything has been okayed by Jai. Everything has been watched through before I've posted the video and re-edited if necessary. I understand that in the moment, sometimes someone's power can be overlooked, can be underestimated, but at the same time, every single job comes with its ups and its downs. Every single job comes with its sets of responsibilities. Some feel like a chore, but some I've enjoyed some of the responsibilities that I've had in my previous jobs. But unfortunately, these are the responsibilities that we all sign up for. When we sign up to be YouTubers, these are some of the responsibilities that are handed to us. Doesn't matter what heights we get to, like 10,000 followers, less than that, over that, 1 million followers, under that, over that, doesn't matter where we stand. When you sign up to be an online creator, you sign up to have this sense of power that could be possibly unattainable to people, and it is your responsibility not to manipulate that for malicious intentions or words. And when it comes to engaging or pursuing romantic or sexual relationships with possible fans, caution should always be taken, and underestimating the power that you have in your platform is just never okay. As creators, it's our responsibility to have the power in our platforms and the power we have consistently in check, because when we don't, people get hurt, and just simply stating you underestimated it just isn't enough. And I think one of the biggest moments of confession that James has in his video is the fact that he straight up calls the minors in this situation victims. He says that he is sorry to the victims. In this situation, James is the one in the firing line. James is the one that's being accused. So if they're anyone's victims, they're James's victims. And if he's calling them victims, he's saying that something has indeed happened for them to be called victims. If he's innocent, they wouldn't be victims. If he's guilty, they are. Ultimately, it's good to see that James is taking accountability. Whether I think he truly understands the severity of the situation or not, it's good to see that he is accepting what's going on, he's sorry for what's going on, and that he promises that this will never happen again. And for the sake of all possible future victims, I genuinely hope that he stands by his word, because if he does stand by it, there will be no more future victims, and that is probably the best outcome. But for the sake of James, this was the stupidest video he could have posted. If any legal team or lawyer or just manager system has ticked off on this video, fire them. Just straight up fire them. They did not do their job. Because in this video, whether James realizes it or not, he has stated his guilt. He has confessed his guilt, because he stated that he had within his abilities and capabilities to check the age of the minors, to double check that they were of age before he sent or solicited any nude photos from them or sent any sexual messages. But he didn't out of desperation for a relationship, for a boyfriend. And he also called them victims in his own video, meaning that something had to have happened for them to be victims. From a business perspective or a possible criminal charges perspective, there really wasn't a worse video that he could have posted. I'm not saying whether James does or doesn't deserve jail time, because that's not up to me to decide. That's up to a court of law to decide and determine. But what I am saying is I don't see why this video and this admission of guilt, no matter how brief it may seem, cannot be used against him if the victims or the families of the victims decide to press charges. Which is why I don't really think James understands the true severity of the situation that he's in, because yes, he's taking accountability and he's apologizing, but I don't think he understands some of what he's actually said in that video. I don't think he understands what he posted. I don't think he understands what he said. And I don't think he understands that for him to take true 100% accountability, he had to say that he was guilty for a crime. That's everything. If you need to pause the video right now just to really digest all of that, I don't blame you. Do whatever you need to do. I'll see you when you come back. It's just so surreal. Either way, let me know what you think down in the comments, because I genuinely want to know. I genuinely want to know what you all think of this situation, what you think of the accountability video. Just let me know your thoughts and opinions, because your girl likes to learn. I constantly love learning. When I'm not learning, I get bored. And one of the best ways to learn and educate yourself in the world is just to hear other people's perspectives. Whether you agree or not, it's just good to experience and expose yourself to other people's opinions and other people's perspectives, and just try and see it from someone else's point of view. And I enjoy doing that, so I enjoy reading your comments, and I really just want to know your thoughts, your opinions. Also, what do we think of my face right now? Because I actually love it. Red, gold, half cut crease, red lip, cheeky bit of blush. How could you go wrong? This looks stunning. I look absolutely delicious. Just fight me right now. I feel so powerful and stunning and just, I could literally take on the world right now. Rifenstine for President 2024. That's a joke, I'm Australian. Rifenstine for Prime Minister 2022? When do I have to vote? Also, please let me know down in the comments if there's anything that you want to hear me talk about in another water cooler convo makeup. I've had a lot of requests for me to rewatch the Shane and Eugenia interview and also the Shane and Jake Paul docuseries. I finally finished watching both. I will be writing out my dot points for both and filming both and editing both and posting both very, very soon. I just wanted to take a quick little moment to do this video before I did those videos. But please let me know if there's any other things that you want to hear me discuss. As I said, I do read all of the comments. But regardless, I hope that you are having a fantastic day, a fantastic week, a fantastic month, a fantastic year, and I hope that you are doing as fantastic as always. Bye!